In this short video, we're going to look at Modo's falloff options. Enabling a falloff allows us to attenuate the effect of a tool on a mesh. In other words, we can affect some parts of our mesh differently than other parts based on distance and other falloff settings. We can enable falloffs from the falloff drop-down up here, or from the Edit menu under Falloff. I'm not going to cover every falloff type, but let's look at a simple example. Right now, I don't have any falloffs set, so I'm just going to select the linear falloff. And when I do that, you can see that we get some properties for the falloff over here in the tool properties, but we don't see anything different in our viewport. However, if I activate the Move tool by hitting the W key, you can see that we get our Move gizmo, but we also get these falloff controls for our linear falloff. Also notice that this falloff gizmo automatically sized itself to the length of our segmented cube. And notice that this falloff gizmo has this sort of ramp. This represents how much our tool will affect our mesh. In this example, this side of the mesh will be 100% affected, while this side of the mesh won't be affected at all, and everything in between will be affected in a linear fashion. So to see this, I'll just adjust my Move tool a bit. And you can see that this side of the cube, where the thick part of the ramp was, gets 100% affected, while this side doesn't get affected at all, and the move effect falls off in a linear fashion. Now, this tool is still live, and we can change some things in our falloff settings and see how they affect our object. First, let's adjust our shape preset. Right now it's set to linear, but let's try one of the other presets. I'll select the Ease In preset. Now you can see how this changes our falloff. Instead of a straight linear falloff, we now have a curve that eases into the effect. You can see it on the mesh itself, and also on the ramp representation of the falloff. Let's look at a couple more shape presets. As you might guess, the Ease Out preset is just the opposite of the Ease In preset. And the smooth effect is really a combination of Ease In and Ease Out. If we select Custom, we can adjust the bias of the falloff curve ourselves. And again, since this tool is still live, I can also change the start and end position of the falloff effect interactively. I can also reverse the effect and change the axis orientation. If I turn on Symmetric, I can mirror my falloff effect at either the start or the end of the falloff curve. And if I move the end of the curve, you can see how it affects the mesh. Of course, you can move the start and end of a falloff anywhere you want. I'm just going to move this panel up a little bit to give me a little more room here. Down here where it says Mix Mode, we have different settings for when we have multiple falloffs enabled. Let's switch over to our Lists panel over here and take a look at our current toolpipe settings. And we saw this back in the toolpipe video. You can see that we have our linear falloff enabled. Let's add another falloff by going up to the falloff drop-down, selecting Add, and selecting the Noise falloff. Now you can see in our toolpipe that we have a linear falloff and a noise falloff. So now if I move the Move tool, you can see the noise falloff being applied along with our linear falloff. And now if I go in and adjust the mix mode for the noise falloff, you can see how it affects the mesh differently. To easily see what effect a falloff is having when you have multiple falloffs, you can just toggle its effect on or off over in the toolpipe. Also, I can go to the View menu and turn on Show Falloffs. This will color our vertices based on the amount they're being affected and can help us visualize what's going on with our falloffs. There are lots of other useful falloff options, such as radial, airbrush, and so on, but I'll let you explore these on your own. There are many times when using a falloff is the only way to get the effect you want on your mesh, so learning what they can do is time well spent. Now let's move on and look at how Modo deals with materials, and how it's different from setting up materials in Max.